If you set up like this, you are doomed for failure because you're going to get util bombed on the site. Sometimes, like, the enemies will split on you, so they'll attack you from two places at once, and you can't tell where they're coming from. You give them all of these lanes for free, so you're never going to know where they're going to hit. I want to see setups where we go aggro or have a trap ready, and then on the other side of the map, we have info setups. Yeah, you only have 5 players. Yeah, so best case, you have one person if you spread it out normally, you have one person at each lane, and then you just have to give up one, right? So that creates kind of a different play style that's played on this map. And there's a lot of, basically you could turn, instead of 2 lanes being here, you could turn it into 1 right here by aggroing. And also, if you look at these sites, there's not a lot of space to play around. Probably the most survival you can have is like dice and kind of playing around tower with the judge. And like if you're here, you can just get peeked by 2 different people at the same time. So B is really hard to hold. A is really hard to hold because the whole top side is you can wall bang it, and then you have 1 piece of cover to play around. So both the sites are really hard to hold. So you have kind of a very attacker-sided map in theory. And basically that created this play style, and especially with the Breach Tejo now being crazy in the meta, that creates a very defense aggro play style. So you'll see defenders set up trap plays where when Neon makes contact, they swing out, get the kill. You'll see here, obviously this is what you see in ranked all the time. People always try to contest A main right here. But in pro play, you'll see a lot of B aggros where we aggro down B and we try to get a kill. You'll see Arcade. How many times have we seen a raise satchel into Arcade with the breach stun right here? So basically the whole point, if you want to play defense well, you have to turn 2 lanes into 1, and then also you need a sentinel that can watch one of the lanes alone. Basically, the theory is with all these other maps, like Valorant map theory, is if you have 1 person watching each lane, then if 5 players go in and rush into it, that 1 person's going to be screwed. So what you want to do is leave one of them open so that you can place like 3 people at one or 2 people at one. So if 5 people go in and attack a choke point, now you have 2 people shooting at the choke instead of only 1. So for Fracture, we're trying to do the same thing. We're going to turn, instead of having to worry about 2 different lanes in Arcade, we're going to aggro Arcade so it's only 1, and then we're going to leave like a Cypher Cam somewhere else, like maybe watching Drop, so we don't have to watch that one. And another thing about Fracture is it's very retake heavy, very retake and like playing post plant heavy, because it's very hard to hold a site in the first place. So most of the time you don't want to hold one. And if the enemies take the site and they set up, say they take B site, we can retake more easily than other maps. Like you look at a map like Sunset, for example. It's not in the pool, but with all the changes to Sunset now, you could play on site and behind these boxes, and then you always have the post plant here. You could play in main, and it's just there's 2 crossfires here that you have to worry about, and it's very hard to retake the site. But on Fracture, it's much easier to retake. So you can risk leaving some sites open with the goal that you're going to turn the 5v5 into a 5v4 by going aggressive. Going aggressive and getting a kill, getting 2 kills, and then getting out. So it's okay. Like I talked about in the past, seesaw and strong side, weak side, and your coaches have talked about that as well. You want to go stronger on one side, and then because you're trying to get a kill, put pressure on the one side, and the weak side, you're just playing for info, trying to get 1 kill and get out, or just try to live and play retake with man advantage. On Fracture, it doesn't really, since the map is not the typical setup, this same analogy doesn't work super well, but the same theory applies. You want to be strong towards maybe top side, like we go strong on top side. So we do a pinch like this. And then we have our sentinel set up with a cam or a tripwire to maybe go for a spam. Like we have them set up in canteen, set up with maybe we throw cam over here, and then we put 2 trips here, and we play for spam. And if we need to retake, we can we have control of like under, and we can always go back main, you know. So we have more options if we go and we flank. So short of it is, yes, it's fine to leave some lanes open or just having a cam or a trip watch it. You just have to kind of be aware of it. We'll get into more in depth into how to actually play the map. It's much easier to explain when I actually show examples. So I have a lot of examples for today. First thing I want to go over though is some comp stuff. So Brim, Breach, and Tejo are staples in this meta. In the past, we've said, hey, pick stuff off your comfort picks. This week, guys, I want you all to pick these 3 agents at least. And then you can be more creative with your Sentinel and your Duelist. So there's a lot of options you could do. You can go like this. You could do Vise or KJ. So you have a bunch of options for the Sentinel and Duelist, but this core of Brimstone, Breach, and Tejo is so good because 1, it's meta. Like Tejo's super meta. He's played on like every map now. And 2, these agents, they enable you to play the map in the way it's supposed to be played. It's much harder to run like a Sova as your initiator than it is a Breach because it's very fast paced. You're moving around the map a lot. You're rotating. You're flanking. You're trying to get past Tejo mollies in main, and the only person who can do that is a Neon or a Raze through satcheling. And like Breach wants to stun and stuff. It's a lot of fast paced, small areas that you could completely just cut out with a Breach stun and Tejo mollies. I think this is it.
Set up for a south side crunch. If C9 wants to commit to it, Cam spots 1. In goes the stun.
Get out of there, Finesse.
But yeah, Finesse is going to escape, or does he actually get out in time? He's instead diving back in. Through the smoke he goes, but Vic will take him down, and that's south side secured for C9.
Oh, Mitch uses the ultimate though. Rolling Thunder expended. Now tucked up right here. I love that spot. And slithers away back into his smoke. His teammates are in A main, and Oxy lines them up. NRG not getting...
Typically what happens on Fracture on attack is you have your Sentinel is going to play like this. They're going to throw their cam up like this, and then they're going to throw their trip over here, something like that, or throw it up here, either one. And basically their entire job here is info and survive. So Cypher's really good because he can get really early info on if they're aggressing anywhere. And he also has the cages if he needs to escape. Like he can play like this, and if he sees something aggroing, he can play in his cages or something. Or he can get out of dodge and take the zip and zip out, right? So that's typically what happens. There's a lot of 4-1 splits. So you guys, when you're on attack, you definitely want to do something like that where you're going aggro towards one lane with your Duelist, Tejo, Breach, Brim, and then you're playing for info on the other side. You're kind of doing strong side, weak side, but on attack. But anyways, on defense here, we're trying to isolate this guy, get this kill, and notice, like, watch it again. We'll watch it muted. Notice how we're leaving the sights open, but look, we have a trip on drop. Tripping drop is probably the best thing to do. So if the enemies end up going drop, we know it, and the guys who are down here doing this pinch can quickly rotate and have a fast retake. If they break this trip, or if we have cam up and we see, there's our cam gets info that the enemies are going arcade, then we can get this kill and then go back and retake B. So there's no problem. You see this a lot. Defenders might just leave side open sometimes so that we can do this aggro play and we'll rely on our retake. So our IGL every round needs to call either an aggro or a trap that they want to do. Because if you want to be unsuccessful on this map, this is what an unsuccessful setup looks like. This is what losers look like right here. Is like this. If you set up like this, you are doomed for failure because you're going to get util bombed onto site. Sometimes like the enemies will split on you, so they'll attack you from two places at once, and you can't tell where they're coming from. And you give them all like space. You give them way too much space. You give them all of these lanes for free, so you're never going to know where they're going to hit. So I don't want to see setups like this. I want to see setups where we go aggro or have a trap ready. And then on the other side of the map, we have info set up. So we have like a cam up here, a trip here. And then maybe we put, let's say we go aggro south side. You could put trip here, cam for arcade. This can watch arcade and main. And we have a nice aggro going. Maybe like we saw in the clip. This one was really good. And then brimstone. So we get aggro like this. Let's look at this clip. This one's cool. We talked about aggros, but we didn't talk about what happens if the aggro doesn't work. What do we do if an aggro doesn't work? Any guesses?
Backup play retake.
No, that's what everyone does. Everyone, if the aggro doesn't work, everyone gets scared and plays in spawn and gives sight or backs up to sight and just gets collapsed. That's what everyone does, and that's a mistake. So watch how
aggro
he's supposed to. Yes, aggro again, but somewhere else. So watch.
He's not, unfortunately, having good opportunities to even play the game so far because his teammates keep dropping on the other side.
Digi almost gets hit there. We see a split now. They kind of move the initiator away from Digi, but I think that was just util. We got to remember, Haven was 10-2 when they played first in the upper bracket. It could be a comeback from Crew on the second one, but Loud look like they're going to make that happen this time.
The thing is, a 10-2 was Crew being very good on the defense.
And that kill, it was a 1-for-1 trade, but they killed the Sentinel, so now there's no info on where the defenders could be. And now Crew's losing 0-10, so it's not going well, but that's a very good response. If your push gets shut down, just go somewhere else. Another common issue with defender aggros is people will just rush at the beginning of every round. When I say that you need to aggro or do a trap play every round, I don't mean like go at right when the buy phase ends and the round starts. I don't mean go out then every time. Sometimes it works, but other times you can literally just walk up, like just do a contact play. Like you can just walk up here and you might catch someone off guard. We talked about doing what's called info plays. You can do the same thing at the start of a round. The thing is, when things get tricky is when you just sit around and don't have anything set up. That's when things get a little tricky. Okay? And one last thing on defense is what I see a lot of people do is they only rotate through spawn. They use this as a crutch because, yes, it is a fast rotate. It's faster than the attackers. But what's the issue with only rotating in this space? You guys know?
You can get choked out really easily.
Yeah, you're very limited to how you can retake when you only retake through these two lanes. You can get shut down very easily. And that's what happens in ranked, is people only rotate this way. So, and that's what everyone's used to. But if you find yourself retaking through these and keep getting shut down here, and like the whole enemy team is just playing for post plant, what do? What's the solution? How do you retake?
The flank?
Yes, you flank. Yes, exactly. It's the best way to counter people playing post plant is instead of rotating the normal way is to flank. So if they're doing this thing that the pros are doing, where they're all playing drop, you can't jump up on the drop and get the kill, guys. That's not going to work. Your only solution is to try to stick the spike and get rid of all their util, or flank. Disrupt it. Kill the Tejo who has the mollies. Because you can't do it jumping up, guys. You can't do it that way. Same thing in if they plant here and play for main. Guys, you're not going to be able to go through door or go through main. It's going to be very low percentage chance you're going to win. You're going to win more if you go through door and flank. You go like this. Because if you try to come out the door, I saw this in a lot of games that I was watching today. If you come out of this door and there's an enemy right here and an enemy here, they have a crossfire on you. You're screwed. And that's what they're prepared for. They're not prepared for this flank. So here we have a split push. So look at how we have Neon, Tejo, and Breach. They're the spearhead. They're our like strong side. They're going in. And then we have our Brimstone and Cypher playing a little more chill here. They're coming in once they've made a lot of noise on the north side. Okay, let's watch.
Lived such a good life. Oxy quick up into tower using those blasts from the Tejo to clear a pathway. And there's two players inside of the smoke. Look at that. Finesse and Psalm next to each other. Push on through.